Hey guys, so real quick before we get started with the notes today, I saw this joke that I wanted to share with you, something about fire drills. So back in elementary school, probably when you had fire drills, this was you guys. Yay, we get to go outside. Then in middle school, sweet, wasting class time. I totally get it. And then high school, you mean we have to get up? So how times change. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into what we are doing today for our notes. We're going to start compound inequalities. And I've mentioned this in class, where compound inequalities, this is where we're going to be doing two or more inequalities on the same number line, and then we're going to be looking for a solution. So there's different types of compound inequalities. There's and or. Okay, so and is a little bit harder, and so that's why I thought we're going to start with this one, do 2 days of it, make sure you get it down, and then or you'll hopefully realize it is a little bit easier, and then when it gets all mixed together, hopefully we'll have it down. So right off the bat, if you could read the notes, it says highlighter needed for these notes and homework assignments. So for the compound inequalities, you definitely need to be using your highlighter. So what we're looking for, what I have right here is what I need. This is for finding the solution. So what I need for finding the solution, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look for a combined area, okay? Look for a combined, or another way to think about it is like where they overlap. Okay, of the inequalities on the line graph. Okay, so there tends to be three most common and graphs, okay? So I'm going to show you the different ones, and we'll apply those to our many different examples. So let's say we have one with a closed circle. Remember, closed is part of the solution, arrow going to the right. Then we might have something with an open circle, arrow to the left. Now, where they overlap, where they combine, well, they're going to combine where the closed circle is. Okay, my two inequalities combine, and they will continue to combine all the way up until that open circle. Okay, so we'll have that is one of our answers. Okay, there might be other ones where both the number lines go to the right. Okay, and then I'll do the same for the left, where we have an open circle to the left, and then I'll give myself a little bit more room, go this way to the left. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight where they overlap, where they combine. So it's going to include the open circle on this one, because the open circle does mean equal to. On the other one, it will not include the open circle, because again, the open circle is not part of the solution. Okay, and then the last one that we have, this one will be a no solution. So that's where the arrows don't overlap at all. They actually will go in opposite directions, like that, and I call that, and we'll be writing down no solution, and then highlighting that part is our answer. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and practice some of these. So example number 1, I have x is less than 3 and x is greater than or equal to -1. This and will be very key because, like I said, we're going to do something called or. And so when it's and, we're going to know that we have to look for what we wrote down as our definition, where they overlap. So we start regardless with a number line. Okay? So on my number line, I'll have -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. At 3, it's an open circle and it's less than. At -1, it's a closed circle and it's greater than. Okay, so the solution is right there where they overlap. So it includes the closed circle all the way up until the open circle. Okay, the next one, example number 2. I have 0, 1, 2. So at 0, it's an open circle, it's less than, so it goes to the left. At 2, it's an open circle. It's also less than, and it also goes to the left. And so where they overlap is to the left of 0, past that open circle. Okay, and so that's the solution for number 2. So before we go on to number 3, again, what I'm highlighting, these are the solutions for these compound and graphs, these compound inequalities. Okay, let's try example number 3. So again, we're going to start with a number line. I have -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. Number 3 and number 1 do overlap, and I'm looking at my answer key, and I did not want that. I wanted this one to be x is greater than 5, and this one, x is less than 2. Okay, so go ahead and fix that in your notes, and then I'll fix my number line to reflect that. Sorry about that. So we'll have 5, 4, 3, 2. There we go. And so at 5, it's an open circle to the right as it gets greater than. At 2, it's an open circle to the left. It gets less than. Notice how nothing overlaps, nothing's combined. So example number 3 is actually our very first no solution. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that since that is my answer. On example number 4, x is greater than 13 and x is less than 13. So I'm going to draw my number line. And we have to, like I said, you have to have at least 3 numbers. So here's 13, 14, and 12. And so, and I kind of missed one right here on example 3. But anyway, number 4, I have an open circle, arrow going to the right. The other one, x is less than 13, open circle, arrow going to the left. Now they are both open circles at number 13, so that means that neither one equal number 13, and then my arrows are going in opposite directions. It looks like it would overlap, but they do not, okay? Because again, that's that whole understanding what an open circle means. So for number 4, we're going to write down no solution. And highlight that. All right, example number 5. Create your number line, so 3, 4, 5. And so I have x is less than 4, so open circle at 4, less than, arrow to the left. Y is greater than or equal to 4, so this is a closed circle, arrow to the right, okay? Again, it looks like they would overlap, but they don't because, again, my first 4 is an open circle, and so that does not overlap. So example number 5, this is another example of no solution. So sometimes these no solutions are tricky, so that's why I'm showing you many of these examples. And number 6, taking a look at my numbers, creating my number line, I'll have 6, 7, and then 5 in here. And so I have a is less than or equal to -6. Oh, I didn't realize they were negative. Moving a little too quickly, I think. Okay, here we go, trying this again. So a is less than or equal to -6, so closed circle, less than or equal to, my arrow will go to the left. A is less than or equal to -6, or greater than, and so arrow to the right. And so now here's an example where in example number 4 and 5 they were no solutions, but they now they can overlap. I have that common area, okay? So we're going to go ahead and highlight that. And so as this unit goes on and we study more of these compound inequalities, there's interpretations. That's what it's called in like the textbooks and sometimes on tests. But an interpretation is when you have like a very specific answer, like this one. My answer here, x only equals -6, we're going to write that in. Okay, and so we'll get lots of practice, but here's our first one where with this interpretation, x equals -6. When there is an interpretation like this, we are going to write them in. Okay, let's go ahead and flip our notes over to the back. And so let's go ahead and start with example number 7. So with example number 7, well, if you take a look at all of these, we are going to solve and then go from there. So example number 7, we'll go ahead and I'll show you an example of solving where I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides first. And I'm going to drop down the 4p. It's less than -4. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide each side by 4. P is less than -1. So here's one answer. This is an and, so I drop down and. This is part of my answer as well. And then we'll go ahead and solve the other side. So notice how I'm solving these separately. And so we do that to make sure that we are getting these correct. So I have 5p is greater than or equal to -25. Divide each side by 5. P is greater than or equal to -5. So again, all of this is my final answer. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight. This is my answer. And then I'm going to go ahead and create my number line. So on my number line, I have -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. Okay, and so at -5, I have a closed circle and my arrow going to the right. At -1, I have an open circle, my arrow going to the left. And so for my final answer, that's where they overlap. And that's what I'm going to highlight. So again, notice I am not highlighting the open circle, but I am highlighting the closed circle because that is part of the solution. So for problems number 8 and 9, let's go ahead. We'll save that until next time I see you in class. So this is a fairly short notes for you, so enjoy. See you next time.